Look, listen. I know you're random, right? But just listen. Just hear me for a minute. Just listen for a minute. All right? Just listen. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Random Thoughts and Ideas with Jack. I am your guy, Jack, and this is a podcast about just random thoughts and ideas about everything and everyday life, concepts, mental health, relationships, whether it be romantic or family, and also a place to get some life saving or money saving DIY tips. So I want to encourage you guys to like, subscribe, and even comment. Comment on any thoughts, any ideas that you might have heard, like or dislike, any tips, any questions you might have. Just shoot them in the comments. Remember, you can find me on all of my handles. You go to my anchor page, you can find it. My handles on YouTube, Instagram are RTI with Jack. So listen up, listen in, and enjoy. Okay, guys. So welcome back again. I wanted this time to thank you all for listening in. As I said before, this is going to be the last episode in this series. So from the beginning, I want to start off by thanking the viewers I have in a few places. Obviously here in Barbados, thank you to all of my viewers, the United States, Bermuda, Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, France, Trinidad and Tobago, Australia, Canada, and Antigua and Barbuda. There's also some other followers from other parts of the world. The funny thing is that you have so much different platforms and the analytics is so different, so you have to leave one to go to the next. Unless someone could tell me exactly how to get all of my analytics in one exact place, that would be great. So we've been on a, let's say, 11-week journey with RTI, with Jack. I've had some very interesting discussions, right? So my main platform I started off with was Anchor, but I realized that for ease and simplicity, a lot of people prefer to use YouTube. It's a lot easier. The only one I haven't been able to get onto is Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure why. Probably because I don't have an Apple device. I have a few friends that were asking me to get on Apple. I'm trying my best to get that sorted out. Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a few others. Overcast, Outcast, a few other things. Outcasty Group. But it has been a very interesting journey, I must say. It's not as easy as some people would think. The whole basis of the podcast was to, share my random thoughts. And I've gotten some very good feedback in person, via phone, via personal text. I would love to get that type of feedback on the actual site, on the Random Thoughts web page or on YouTube or any other platforms. But I still do appreciate the feedback nonetheless from you guys. It has been interesting. It's not anything that I regret doing. It's not anything that I would discourage anyone from doing. It's important to know why you're doing it though. And for me, it was a chance to get some of my thoughts out, and not have them just in my mind or share with a very unique group of people. So some of the other countries I didn't mention before, they have some people listening. Canada, Dominica, Cayman Islands, Suriname, and South Africa. I want to thank you guys for listening. Continue to listen. Season 2 is going to be a lot better, a lot different. A new look, but still all the same basic concept of sharing random thoughts or sharing information or sharing things that could help you financially or to help you safety or security wise. So that was the point where I'm going to do a small recap of basically what the podcast has been about. Just briefly on each topic, just in case you missed one or two, you could know which episode to check it out on, or you will know which specific episode catered for a specific topic. So in January, on the 15th of March, I had my launching or premiere, and the topic was just an intro to the podcast. And it was just to speak about, introduce what the podcast was about, a little bit about who I am, more or less, why I think or why I'm able to speak on certain topics because of my qualifications and my experiences, and to share a little bit about me and my intent for the podcast. Episode 2 was a lot deeper. And it was this random thought I had, as I said before, in the pandemic. And I shared with a few friends of mine, and we had a massive discussion about it for weeks. And someone suggested that I make it my next episode. So on the 22nd of January, I had the episode called The Atom Life Cycle. And it was basically about having or knowing exactly where you are in your life. There are certain phases in your life. It was a random thought that came to me. And there were three main phases. There were four main phases. And each phase represented a very deep aspect of our life where everyone goes through. It was also mentioned on that particular podcast, episode 2, that there's no correct or there's no right route to take in these four phases. You could go from any phase at any time. All depends on what's going on in your life. It was a very interesting podcast, a very interesting episode, sorry. So the four stages, first one, well, not in any necessary order, but the first one was the viewer, which is the person. You know what? You shouldn't go too deep in it. Just go back and listen to it. So it's the viewer, the muse, the collector, and the painter. And that whole episode is about understanding where you are in a particular phase in your life, and understanding the process of the purpose of that phase, the processes inside that phase, and moving to the next phase or moving backward to another phase. It's very interesting, a very interesting concept. I would encourage you to listen to it. So that was episode 2, season 1, The Atom Life Cycle. In between there, I had a small thank you to my listeners. But the next one was the first DIY, which was fire theory and the science of fire, where we spoke about what were the elements of fire, what starts a fire. We spoke about the fire triangle and the fire tetrahedron. We also spoke about different types of extinguishers, how they work, classes of fire, how to treat the fire. The disclaimer was that at the end of the podcast, at the end of the episode, the idea was not to make you a firefighter, but to give you some information, some valuable information that you might need if you find yourself in a situation. The best idea and the best plan is always to have a plan. So whether you're at home or at work, there should be a fire plan. What happens or what you do when there's a fire. We spoke about fire blankets and all the different apparatus you have, different types of fire and how to fight each fire with different types of apparatus, how to use the fire extinguishers and which fire extinguishers to use on the different classes of fire. But it's always a good idea to think, relax, and either before or after you act, get the fire service on the line. Right? But in the meantime, understand the dangers, understand safety, self first, life first, property afterwards, and get the fire service involved. They are excellently trained here in Barbados. The next episode, which was episode 4, was on the 5th of February, something called peer pressure, trauma, and their peer pressure and trauma. We spoke about what is peer pressure, the different types of peer pressure, and what is trauma, the different types and forms of trauma and how it presents, and show the relationship between trauma and peer pressure. And one of the biggest things that came out of that particular episode was that trauma and peer pressure are rooted and based and something even presented um, in an emotional response. So they either start with an emotional basis, rooted in emotional basis, and the output, the response, what is expressed is emotional, right? And that was a very good episode. I kind of biased, so I can say all the episodes good, but according to the comments I got and the likes on so many platforms, I think some people really like that particular episode. And it was geared at, yes, everyone, but more of the younger dynamic or generation or groups that deal with peer pressure a lot more than we get older, you know? So that's something good that the kids could listen to, or the teenagers could listen to, the young teens, young adults, all the way up to I guess, all depends on the person, but I don't think people of a certain age really give into peer pressure anymore. I think when you get a certain age, you just don't care anymore. You know you're old enough to do what you want. But it all depends. So the next episode after peer pressure and trauma was on the 12th of February. And it was called Being Evenly Yoked or Being Unevenly Yoked. And what does it mean? We spoke about the idea that we might have first only heard about it in church, about being unevenly yoked or being unequally yoked, and what it really means. But he took it a bit further, not about a religious belief, but a status and life journey point of view. You know, you really should align yourself with people who have not necessarily the same view of life as you, but have certain qualities that you share, right? So there are people that have all these dreams and stuff, but have no qualities or the characteristics to go after them. But there are people that do. And if you want to progress in life, you got to put yourself around people that can do things and not just say things, you know? They can help you get where you're going, or you can see, or you can use as a positive example or role model to move past to the next level that you want to get to. That really would tie back in a little bit to the second episode about the atom life cycle. So after that, we had on the 19th of February, the second DIY, which was tips and tricks for car maintenance and how to reduce fuel consumption and save you some money at the gas pump. We spoke about exactly what maintenance is, what is basic maintenance, things that you should do. Not only maintenance for the upkeep of your vehicle, but maintenance for safety. So checking your tire pressure, making sure your lights on. A lot of people don't remember to check that the lights, obviously, the license plates are on. You can get a ticket for that and have to go to court and pay a lot of money for something that simple. Understanding what is the process or what are the things generally that are changed or checked while you're doing a basic maintenance cycle on your vehicle. And specifically what to do, how to drive, which will save you money at the gas pump. So I mentioned before, checking, apart from getting your car service and making sure you're working properly, checking your tire pressure, not pressing out gas to move quickly, accelerating quickly, which will also not only burn a lot of unnecessary fuel, but then if you're moving fast and you're driving fast, you got to brake harder. So you're also going to wear down your brakes more. You can really hit in your pocket later on. You got to do a lot of maintenance a lot sooner than if you had to. Things like not carrying around excess weight in your vehicle. If you have a toolbox or the heavy stuff in the truck that you don't need to have every day, take it out, because more weight means the engine gonna work a little bit harder to do the same 60 or 80 kilometers. Things like driving at the speed limit, which will help you. save a lot of money, economical speeds. So that was episode 6. Episode 7 on the 26th of February was the rant. It was just an episode about things that really, really bug me. Like, do motorcycles have horns? Have you ever heard a motorcycle horn? Because motorcyclists in Barbados never use them. You know that you could hear the muffler from 10 miles away, but they never ever use a horn. And they know motorcycles have horns. Why do Bajans have such difficulty in letting people pass in mergers? Is a merger is supposed to do left, right. But somehow Bajans have this idea that if you get in front of them, the whole world can come to an end. Everybody always in a rush. It was also, that episode also spoke about propaganda and how news agencies were using a lot of tricks to curve what was really happening to suit their agenda or the agenda of their supporters or, financiers. People financing the companies. How people use social media for very bad purposes, for malicious reasons. We talk about males in relationships, the workforce, and at home, feminists and feminist toxicity, women in the workforce, and equality. So that was an interesting episode as well. The Rant, episode 7, 26th of February. After that, in March, we came to the life after accepting death. This one was a bit personal. It was about living with the working diagnosis of neuromyelitis optica syndrome disorder, an autoimmune disorder, which is very close or similar to multiple sclerosis or relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. My brush with death, psychological roller coaster that ensued afterwards. The idea of not of accepting death, but not really making the conscious decision to continue to live after death didn't come. That was a very emotional episode. But it's also a part of the journey of getting better. But that episode also spoke about meditation and how meditation saved my life, literally and figuratively. And to this day, I will always advocate for people to meditate. Meditation is a very strong tool to sort out a lot of personal issues, to sort out getting yourself in order mentally, to sort out your goals, your journey, your path, the process you're taking to get where you want to go, to enlightenment, to self-peace, to harmony, to self-control. It has so many different variants. So if you want to hear a little bit about meditation and a medical roller coaster, episode 8, Life After Accepting Death, and how meditation saved my life, figuratively and literally. I gave a few examples as well when I was younger, on how I started meditation, and that was on the 5th of March. The next one was on the 10th of March. Well, no. On the 10th of March, I had a few people wanted me to speak on a few things. I had a few topics I wanted to talk about, but at the end of the day, I decided to go with who is JAC, who I am. I spoke about who I was, a little bit more about myself, things I might not have mentioned in the first episode, so you get a better idea of, who is this strange person speaking to you once a week on this podcast. I was fortunate enough during that week to be approached by a colleague and a friend about doing a team up with her podcast and mine. It was 3T Camp, 3, the number T as in Tango, C, Charlie, Alpha, Alpha, Mike, Papa. So camp with 2 A's in it. And there was a very interesting episode with Cuban graduates 20 years after we graduated, or rather 20 years after we went to Cuba. Our journeys and experiences in Cuba, how it changed our mentality, how we interact and relate with people having been there. It was a very interesting episode. We did record it, so it was a visual episode, but there were some issues, and I published it on my platform in audio. I was really hoping to get it out on video, but it was better one way than no way at all. So you can also check out Treaty Cat, Lana Henry. She's on Twitter and a lot of other platforms, but also on that episode, I also have a link to her YouTube page and to her Twitter page, so you can check it out. And she also does Spanish language lessons as well. I think she's just starting a new cycle of Spanish lessons. I think this one is free, but you can check it out and you'll see what she has to offer. And then the week before, 2nd of April, was the penultimate episode 11, when I explained my experience with the flu and COVID that took me straight to my birthday weekend, and it really put me down for a while, so I wasn't able to record. The episode, I also spoke a little bit about the Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle. I'm not very long on it because that's all you're hearing about. But I spoke about it on a different point of view. More of the idea of what is protecting a woman, the idea of what are the consequences for the actions. And sometimes it's best to think about it first and not just react, because the consequences only you would have to deal with. And that the idea of keeping someone's or protecting someone's, I don't want to say the word legacy, but honor is a very subjective concept. And it all depends on who you are, where you are, and what you believe in. So it's nothing static. It's not universal. And because of that, it can be very tricky when you say you're going to defend someone's honor. Because what they honor to them is, to you and to them, is not what it might be to someone else. So then it could be just a case of misconception, misunderstanding, poor communication, and then you put yourself in a very, very silly situation that could be avoided, and letting male ego really hamper an opportunity to rise above a situation and an experience. So that's basically the recap for the past 12 weeks or so on the podcast, and looking forward. So I'm currently working with a good friend. We are working on a logo. We have a lot of ideas. There's one I really, really like. I designed myself, but it is very, very busy, as it was told. It looks great, but to print on a shirt, on a mug or something is going to be pricey. So we are thinking about having 2 logos, one for YouTube specifically, and then one you can use to print on merch. And once that is complete, I'm going to push it out. I'm going to let you guys know who is that person. and we'll see how it goes. There are so many options. I might even put out a poll to see which ones you guys like better, and you never know. You might be the reason, or you might be the person to decide which is the one, which logo is the new logo for RTI with JAC. Random thoughts and ideas with JAC. Also looking forward, as I said before, I want to do a bit more video with DIYs. So what I'm going to do is that when I'm doing certain maintenance jobs, I'm going to record it. I'm going to explain it. This is something I wanted to do like over 12 years ago and I never did it. But I guess you're never too late. So I'm going to do that as well. So I'm going to explain not only basic servicing, but some suspension tips, brake pads, changing brake pads, things I've learned over the years, little tricks, things to look for. You know, you don't need necessarily to do it yourself, but it'd be good to know so that when you go and take your vehicle to someone and they say something to you that you might know if they're, be giving you a bullshit story or anything like that. And then also I want to do some more lives and some more interviews. So once we get all that out of the way, I'm going to push that out to you as well. Might be an opportunity where I might just do all of them and then release them periodically, or did what I did this season is every week come and sit down and talk about something and do something. But it all depends. Basically, I have been very consistent as it relates to pushing out every Saturday. There were only 2 instances where that didn't happen, and that was because I had COVID. And I didn't push out yesterday purposely because I thought today, Sunday, would have been the better day to actually sit down and do it. I had a very busy Saturday, but it was better to get all my thoughts in order because I don't edit. I shoot from the hip. Maybe the next season we do a little bit more editing, so I'm a bit more professional. Or if you prefer this conversation, I think that's why I like it a lot, because although these are ideas that I have or experiences that I have, the idea of it being a natural conversation is appealing to me. And I hope it's appealing to you guys, for the ones who listen consistently. Thank you again for that. I also want to get more engagement, engage with you a lot more, get to you to give me some thoughts, some feedback, from your point of view, share ideas of what you think about what I'm speaking about, or even if you have something that you would like me to speak about, or you would like to hear my thoughts or my angle on it. That's something I'm willing to do as well. I also wanted to get an idea from you, a feel from you. Which do you prefer, the longer episodes, the half-hour episode concept, or the 45 minutes to hour concept? I initially wanted just to do 30 minutes, but I've realized that from a close friend of mine, she who also has a podcast, was telling me that they like it, but it's a bit too short. I thought that short and sweet was good, but I realized that 30 minutes might sound like a lot, but you can't really express or go deep into an idea or a group of ideas in 30 minutes. So 30 minutes or less is only one idea, one limited part of an idea. So you really need more than that to really go down into it. But there are some episodes where I kept it at the 40 minutes, because there was no need to go too deep. But is that inconsistency a problem? Is it not? We will see. If you have any ideas about it, any thoughts about it, you could just hit me up on any of the platforms, make your comment, or this one. There's a website. I'm going to also put the website on this link as well. But there's also an IG account. And by now you should know all the handles. But I'm going to continue to push them out. So between now and when I decide to start back season 2, what I will do though is I'm going to take inserts from this season and specific parts from different episodes I thought were profound. I pushed them out in small RTI bites, BATES. Like I do have a daily RTI bite or motivation on the website that pushes out something every day or every other day. Some things are very, very random, if you follow them. But I will push them out on this same platform, on YouTube, on Anchor, where Anchor is going to push it out on the other platforms, on my Instagram, both RTI with JAC Instagram, and also on my WhatsApp. So if you have my WhatsApp, you're going to continue to see them pushed out as well. There's also email address, rtiwithjack@gmail.com, rtiwithjac@gmail.com. So if you feel it, you get the urge to, you can send me an email with your thoughts or ideas as well. So we're in that 30-minute mark. I'm not going to drag this on a lot longer, but thank you guys for your support in this season. My very first season, it was a very interesting experience. I do want to thank you all again for listening in, for the likes. I do appreciate it. For the one-on-one thoughts and ideas, I do appreciate it. I would appreciate it even more if you do make your comments on the actual platform. Don't fear. I can take constructive criticism. For those who don't know me personally, so see you gotta say. I have no problem with engaging with you. If you want to engage via email or in the comments, no problem. I will keep it above board. So if there's any comments with malice or malice intent, and you're doing it to get a raise out of me, I'm sorry you're going to be disappointed. I will reply to you, but not with malice. It's not my forte. It's not how I operate. So one more time, I want to reach out and thank all of you who have been supportive of the platform so far. I want to encourage you to keep listening as I push out some more stuff. I want to encourage you to comment, to like, to share. And you know what? As this podcast grows, if it grows, you're going to be a big part of that, and I thank you all for it. So, yet again, I want to thank my listeners from the U.S., from Barbados, from Ireland, from Canada, Antigua and Barbuda, from Dominica, from Trinidad and Tobago, from the Cayman Islands, from Suriname, from South Africa. I also want to thank my listeners from Jamaica, France, Australia. I think I already said St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think I already said Australia and Canada. I want to wish you guys a blessed week and the rest of the weekend. Have a great thought. Have a great think. Remember to meditate if you can. It's always a interesting process. And you will learn a lot about yourself. And you will learn a lot about temperament and control. And there are many videos on YouTube, tutorial videos. It's just having an idea of what you want to meditate, what you want to achieve through meditation, and then you search for that. There are some very good books as well on meditation. There are some very good podcasts on meditation and videos on YouTube as well on meditation. And the reason why I push it, because it has helped me so much in my life. And you know what? It's free of cost. All it costs you is a little bit of time. Every day, every other day, once a week, once a month. It's all up to you. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the faster you see the results. So guys, you've been listening to RTI with Jack. I want to thank you all again for supporting me season 1. And I hope to do much more and do a lot better in season 2. And this could be something great. So once again, be blessed and stay blessed. I done know. I say what I had to say. I share my random thought with you. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Make sense?